Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 60 of the Hardly Millennial podcast, where we are young, dumb, and full of
opinions.
And even more opinions again.
More opinions, ladies and gentlemen. So today is a very special day, and we have a very special guest with us today. He is a gymnast, an acrobat who performs in a show in Las Vegas. And he is my younger brother, Thomas Hansen. Say hello, Thomas.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
I am so excited that we have Thomas on today.
Me too, man.
I always wanted this to happen, and I never thought it would actually happen.
Oh, that's so touching, Matthew. Thank you.
Yeah, this is great, man.
And here we are. So first, I just want to get out of the way that I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear about what Thomas does. And we've talked about him before, but Thomas is legally not allowed to talk about anything. So today we're going to talk about movies because Thomas loves movies, and Matthew and I have definitely had our fair share of conversations.
One or two.
I love movies. Oh my gosh.
So let's just get started with Thomas. What is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie, like recently, all time?
All time. What's your favorite
all
movie?
time, I've got to say Good Will Hunting.
Really?
I could watch Good Will Hunting again and again and again. I don't get tired of it. I love the story. I love the character. Just Will Hunting, like I love him. I love his dynamic with Robin Williams, his therapist, and just everything about that movie. I love it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would never think Good Will Hunting. Like, I know you like that movie, but I would never think that's like your above everything else movie.
Oh, it's just I put story above everything else, and I just feel like the story was strong. It was an awesome, just the mainly the character, because I'm an aspiring actor, so I really pay attention to the character and the development, and I look at Matt Damon and the way he developed the character in that film, and just the way him and Ben Affleck came up with the script and how
That's
it
a
all
lot of big names.
came out.
I've never seen this movie.
You've never seen
No,
it?
I just heard Robin Williams, Ben Affleck.
This is like what got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck big.
Yeah, this was what started.
I've never seen it.
They wrote the movie. So the story is they were like roommates in Boston, right? And they were both aspiring actors, and they both wrote a movie together and sent it to Hollywood. And Hollywood actually has like a vault that just has a bunch of scripts in it that they they'll get to one day kind of thing. So when they're looking for a good movie to do to make money, they'll go into the vault. So this movie actually sat in there for they sent it over and didn't get a call or anything for 7 years. And then all of a sudden, they both got a call and hey, we want to make your movie. And then if I remember correctly, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck flipped a coin to see who would play the main part and who would play the part of the best friend. Yeah.
How funny. I guess that's the next one I'm going to have to watch.
Yeah.
So it literally launched their career.
Wow.
I think it won Best Picture when it came out too.
It was definitely nominated for an Oscar. I can't remember if it won or not.
But yeah, it's... But I still wanted to put that as you've just seen so many movies.
I've seen a lot of movies, but like I said, it was just the acting was superb. The character development was all there. It was all put together very well.
Who's your favorite actor?
Favorite actor?
Or actress, whatever we
actor.
We're not sexist here.
I have a very outspoken favorite.
Yes.
I don't know who Adam's favorite is.
I don't even know if I have a favorite. I definitely have ones I enjoy.
Do you have one that's jumps out?
If I think of my favorite actor, I'm taking in mind who has shown they're versatile, they can do a little bit of everything. Who is it that really hones their craft and stuff? And a few names come to mind. Matt Damon definitely being one of them. He's taken a lot of...
Jeez Louises. He said Matt Damon.
Oh my gosh.
First name he said.
But
okay.
Just because we were talking about Good Will Hunting, so that's the first name that popped in my head. Number two, another great actor that just Robert De Niro.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
I feel like the guy's made a lot of great movies. He does well in all of them. Especially for what was that movie he did with Robin Williams, where he played.
Robert De Niro did with
Robin Williams? What was that movie where he's in the hospital? And that's where my mind goes to most of all, like just his acting in that was.
Well, see, that's always my. So I agree with you because I know what movie you're talking about, but I can't remember it. For those out there, just for context, there was this movie that came out years ago with go ahead and look it up. But there was a movie that came out with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro, and it was based off a true story. Where Robert De Niro played this guy that had some disease that basically puts you in this like catatonic state, but you're like conscious, you just can't move, so you have to be constantly like taken care of. And he was in this hospital with a bunch of other people that had the same disease. Well, somebody, like, quote-unquote, developed a cure for it. Oh. And they tested on Robert De Niro, and then it worked. And they tested on everybody else, and it also worked. But then Robert De Niro starts to digress back into old ways. So then everybody's like, well, we know what to expect. And he basically just develops a relationship with his doctor who was never able to speak to him or anything because he was always catatonic. But Robert De Niro does do fantastic in that movie. But what my original point was, though, is like, but there are actors out there like Robert De Niro who, like, I do like, and I do think they're good in some movies. And same thing with Matt Damon. I think he's good in some movies. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing with some of those actors is I feel like a lot of them do a lot of shitty roles too, though. Mm-hmm. So it's like the actors I always have to choose as far as my favorites are ones that truly blow me away in everything that they're in.
Yeah, ones that are just
if I had to answer my favorite actor, somebody who I think no matter what role they are given, they blow it out of the water, is Hugh Jackman.
Oh, I would definitely put him up there.
Really good.
Does great and everything.
You know who else I just thought of right now, actually, when you're saying that? That I don't know if they're necessarily the best actor, but they do blow me away in every time they're in a movie, is Will Smith, of all people. He's actually pretty damn good in a lot of different roles.
I agree, but the problem I have with Will Smith is I feel like he's one of those actors where all of his roles are kind of the same. Like he's always Will Smith, you know what I mean? Like there's never like it never breaks the illusion for me of this is not Will Smith.
I don't know, because he has action in like iRobot,
right?
Okay, where he can play like the sassy action character,
right?
Right. He has comedy, you know.
Can't find it, Thomas.
No.
It's not that important. I don't even remember what it was. Yeah. Anyway, he has funny, you know, Fresh Prince, a lot of other movies where he's just kind of like a suave, just funny guy, good with the ladies. And then he also has like Pursuit of Happiness, where he can be very like heart tugging.
Well, I think that's where Will Smith excels the most, is in those more dramatic roles.
Yeah, me too.
But I like actors where when I watch them, like I truly am seeing a very different character.
Yeah,
so
where
like,
they transform.
Yeah, so like for example, if we're talking about Will Smith in iRobot, right? Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, it's a more serious role. You know, he's like the bad cop that just has the quips and everything for everything you say.
Exactly.
But I don't see a lot of difference. I don't see far enough away from the spectrum of like Fresh Prince. You know, it looked like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just grew up,
went into
law enforcement. Yeah. Like that's what it felt like to me, and that's what it feels like with a lot of.
I guess
roles.
it's just that everything he puts out, I go see.
Yeah,
like I enjoy everything that he's in.
I enjoy watching him, but then there's people like Heath Ledger who plays a role like the Joker, and you watch that and you can't even imagine Heath Ledger in there anywhere.
It's like Denzel Washington puts on a better performance than Will Smith does.
Yes,
but I've seen a lot more Will Smith movies. Mm-hmm, you know what I mean? So it's that dynamic that he's just everywhere.
He's a good niche actor. He's very like you can fit him in anywhere, and you're gonna get a good enough performance to make the movie good from him.
True.
But I don't know. But like actors like I really enjoy Hugh Jackman, or Ralph Fiennes is another one I enjoy. Who I feel like always plays very versatile characters. He played. He's been in a lot. He was
Voldemort.
He was Voldemort as one of them.
Okay, there you go. That's all you have to say.
But he also played a Nazi soldier in Schindler's List. They did a really good job with. He was in. Remember, I showed you the Wes Anderson. Here's how a Wes Anderson movie is made. It was that very symmetrical.
Yes,
artsy.
I do remember that.
He's in a lot of those movies, but plays a very different role every single time. But. Yeah, as far as actors go, that's probably who I would choose. And J-Law for actress. I think Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, she is making a good name for herself.
Mm-hmm. So Thomas, if one day you become an actor, you said you aspire to be.
Yeah.
What roles do you feel that you play well? What do you do?
I feel like I would do really well, and maybe I feel like either action roles, just mainly because of my physical capabilities,
Yeah, your background would be really good for that.
Yeah, I've been gymnast my whole life, and I'm a professional acrobat. So I feel like I'd be really good in those roles and stuff, just because I'd be able to do my own stunts and everything. But I also want to do some dramatic roles, because I feel like that's really where you get down to core of characters and stuff. And I said, I'm big on character.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I would love to do a movie where it has just amazing character development, and just be able to, like Adam said, transform into a different character. And that's what really appeals to me about acting, was just that you don't have to choose one thing to be. It's you almost get to be a lot of different things, because you study each role, and you get to completely submerge yourself in different experiences that maybe you didn't have, but you got to research them and try and interpret them into your own life, because that's what acting is. It's just bringing out real emotion in the form of something else.
So there's a term for that kind of acting, isn't there? Because all actors take on the role. Yeah, where you are the kind of actor
delving
who really
into your role.
You become your character.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as Jared Leto did
yeah.
for the Joker, where you're just constantly a character on and off set, because I feel like a truly great actor too needs to be able to shut it off and be able to know
absolutely.
go from one to the other.
Otherwise, you're not really acting.
Yeah,
are you?
It's
No, you're just living it.
yeah. So
as far as being on stage and on set, you're you're the person, but then when you leave that, you become Thomas again.
yeah. Exactly. When you're not on camera, you're not on camera. It's know how to get in and out of your character.
So I'm actually curious then, now that you say that, because you were the one that showed me the documentary with Jim Carrey about playing Andy
Knew this was
Kaufman.
coming.
Yeah.
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 And I remember when we first watched it, you were actually very enamored by Jim Carrey.
I was intrigued by it.
Okay.
I was intrigued by how he went about it. Not condoning it, not saying I would do the same thing, but I was just intrigued about how he went about it and just how far it took him.
Because it was a doc. The reason why I asked is because when I first watched it too, there was a little bit of me of kind of the stars in your eyes, where I'm like, wow, look at this actor work,
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I went back and watched it again. The second time through watching it, I realized I was like, wow, Jim Carrey's just being a dick. There was literally a part where, because they were doing confessionals with Jim Carrey too, so they were interviewing him about it and then cutting back to pieces of the film. For those out there who don't know, there was a documentary about a movie called Man on the Moon that was about the comedian Andy Kaufman. And Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman, but he did a method acting to where he really was the words he used was he was possessed by the soul of Andy Kaufman.
He made people call him Andy.
Yes,
if they called him
set.
Jim, he wouldn't answer to him.
Yes.
Went really far.
And
went really far.
It really rubbed people the wrong way on set and made them hard to work for.
There's a documentary on Netflix about it all.
Yeah.
And we've done a whole podcast about it.
Yes. But he did a interview, and he was talking about one of the times when Jim Carrey, or the director, called Jim Carrey and was like, it's hard to work with Andy, obviously talking about Jim Carrey, but it was just we'd really like, Jim back on set, and Jim Carrey was like, well, I can do I'm a really good impressionist. I can do an impression of Andy Kaufman if that's what you would like. And he was just like, no, I want Andy. And I was like, Jim Carrey's literally saying, this is what the context of what Jim Carrey is saying. You're either going to go along with my fucking charade, or I'm not going to give you my best performance in your movie.
That's literally what he told
And
him.
it's like, what a fucking dick.
But what an
on.
ass kisser on the director's part, though.
Yes.
Because at any time, he could have been like, okay, we're looking for a different person.
Well, and this is the same
Could've fought back a
director,
little
though, that
bit.
came to him months before they started the movie and said, he goes, right now you look broken, you look miserable, don't change. That's what the same director that told him that, and Jim Carrey said in the interview, he goes, that's what kind of fucked up business this is. The director came to him and said, like, you look so broken right now, so like so down, and he's like, don't change. Like, I need you like this.
I need you like this.
So he wanted that, and he knew he did, but just the repercussions of it, Jim Carrey's just like, if you want it, I'll give it to you, but you gotta accept what it is.
I don't know. I don't think it was that like.
But
cut
Jim
and
Carrey,
dry,
not saying like I said, I don't condone it. I thought it was going back to the point. I thought it was intriguing the way that he got so delved in it, because I believe the brain is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And he believed himself to be Andy Kaufman so hard, and like he felt like he was actually becoming Andy Kaufman completely in his head, because there are things that he did that they were like, Andy Kaufman wouldn't have done that. But Jim Carrey as Andy Kaufman would be like, it's just not the way it worked out this time. Like he was living another life as Andy Kaufman, like he was going through and doing it again. But just to delve into it so much where you trick your brain into believing you're somebody else, because he said like he wouldn't know who he was. He would get like trapped in that character. And I truly believe that can happen, just because you can, just like hypnosis is a thing, like you can trick the brain, and if you believe something hard enough.
So here's my rebuttal to that, because I do agree with you to an extent, and I do believe there are actors who can do method acting very well and do it the correct way. One of those being one of the, if not the most famous method actor, and that's Daniel Day-Lewis, where every single time he does a role, he literally lives out that role. And I remember during one of he's won like 4 Oscars for Best Actor.
I've never heard of him.
And I believe, well, that you should.
I'm terrible with movies.
I promise you, you've seen him though.
Yeah.
Did you see Gangs of New York?
Yeah.
He was the guy with the mustache. The crazy mustache.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
That dude's great.
He also played
And he's in
Lincoln in
Lincoln,
Spielberg's Lincoln.
Don't know that one.
But he's somebody who, even when he won an Oscar once, he even said, like, I want to thank my wife and kids for living with like 9 different people, over the years.
So at least he was kind of cool about it.
Yes, but he's also somebody where if you watch his films, he truly you can tell this man has transformed himself into this character, and it's very impressive to watch him. There's a reason he's won as many Oscars as he has.
Dude.
However, so my rebuttal to like Jim Carrey doing it was, I ended up watching a video where they put side by side Jim Carrey and Andy Kaufman, some of these scenes they recreated for the movie. And I'm sorry, I watched the Andy Kaufman ones compared to Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey's literally being Jim Carrey. Like, there was one thing Andy Kaufman was very famous for doing, where he put on a record and he stood on the stage and he just stood there awkwardly while the verse played on this track. And then when it got to the chorus, he would lip sync the chorus and then just go back there standing there awkwardly, right? That was the kind of humor Andy Kaufman did. But when Jim Carrey did the recreation of that, during the points where he was supposed to be quote unquote standing still, he was like bobbing a little bit and moving his knees a little bit, like obviously moving a lot more than Andy Kaufman did. And if you go back, and if anybody goes back and watches the original footage, there's no movement at all. It's just standing there.
So it's like he delved into it, but didn't really capture the role.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You think he should have.
So when he does says things like, oh well, that just wasn't how it worked this time around with Andy Kaufman, and then you watch the side by side performances, like, well, I don't really believe you're Andy Kaufman because here's this, and you could even fucking stand still for 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So those are things that bother me, and that's what makes me wonder of like, did you really get really involved in this role, or are you just being a pompous ass?
Yeah.
And
If you're gonna play something up that much, at least do it like perfect justice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you don't miss a beat if you're going to be that outspoken about it.
Exactly.
True.
But I don't know. That's why I enjoy some of Jim Carrey's movies, but that's definitely the issue I have.
Okay.
He can't do dramatic roles though. Any dramatic
No,
role I've
that's-
seen him in, he's just horrible.
No, and he's just getting worse with years.
So, Thomas, how do you feel about I'll just pick a name out of a hat randomly here. Okay, but let's say someone like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
How do you feel about someone like him and his acting?
Oh man, Leonardo DiCaprio.
No pressure.
Well, Wolf of Wall Street was amazing. I have to
Yes,
say, I love
it's
that movie. I
fantastic.
thought he did an amazing job. Great Gatsby, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of. You know, he's really hit and miss for me. It's like some things like what was that movie he finally won the Oscar for?
We talked
The
about that,
Reverend.
The Reverend. I wasn't
Yeah.
a huge fan
No,
of the
nor do
Reverend,
I.
and
Just
I
forget
think,
that he
but
was in
I
it.
think
That
I
one,
think it
just
wasn't
scrap
so
it.
much for his acting. I think it just wasn't my type of movie. You know, that just
Well, his acting was amazing, but the
yeah,
movie sucked. You're right.
yeah. His acting, like I said, it wasn't because of his acting. I think I just didn't really like the movie.
You said he's hit or miss for you. So what
Yeah.
movies have been misses for you?
Oh man, that Romeo and Juliet thing he did for one.
Oh.
Not about the modern day Romeo and Juliet
The
thing
nuance take on
with
it.
the same script. Yeah, just no, it didn't
Well, that
work.
was definitely an artsy movie.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
a little,
All right,
artsy
okay.
on that one. you know. What about have you seen Basketball Diaries?
I have not seen Basketball Diaries.
Oh.
I hadn't heard of it either.
That was an
Matt
early
told me
one.
about
It's
it.
a
Okay.
very early one for
Matt
him.
I don't know why
loves
I'm
that movie.
blanking
I love
a
that movie.
lot on Leonardo DiCaprio movies right now. Hang on, I've seen a lot of them.
What about Django Unchained?
Django. How'd you think of that?
Leonardo DiCaprio in Django or just the movie Django?
Just
in general?
Leonardo DiCaprio
Okay.
in Django.
I thought he did well. Definitely as the southern, plantation owner, definitely
Right.
played that part well. But then again, that's kind of an easy part to play.
What about Shutter Island?
I liked him in Shutter Island. So overall, I like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, see, we're coming around to all people have to do is think
Sound
about
like
it for
I
a
just
second.
thinking
and
about,
they'll be
like,
like,
all
oh,
those-
wait a minute.
Okay, yeah,
I do love
like,
Leonardo
I truly
DiCaprio.
think he's one of
I don't know
the
why I was
greatest
spacing.
actors of our time.
Like I loved Inception.
Possibly who's ever lived.
You know what movie just
Possibly.
popped up over here on IMDb? I don't know if you guys have seen it. The new Robin Hood.
Have
You
not
guys seen this?
that
All right,
one.
let me tell you about the new
How's
Robin Hood.
late day Leo
Let
doing?
me get into this.
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
no.
He wasn't. But Leonardo DiCaprio.
He was a producer. That's why
Oh,
it
he's a
popped up
producer.
here.
Oh, okay.
I'm
fine.
on.
Well, I just
I'm,
put some money towards
I'm on
it.
IMDb, folks. I live on IMDb. I love looking at movies and trivia on movies. I love doing
I
it.
can tell
so.
you have opinions about.
Okay, Robin
Okay,
Hood.
let's hear it.
So it looked really good in trailers, right? And you're like, all right, cool. This
Like a
young
young
Robin Hood,
yeah.
like kind of like an action movie, So in the movie, first of all, they tried to do like this modern thing. They did it on purpose, but just I didn't think it looked right. They tried to do like more like modern clothing on them. So like their
But it
movies,
still took place back. In
yeah,
the-
but it still took place. But they tried
that's
to go
weird.
for like almost like this more modern look with the clothing. So that kind of put me off. Just a small thing. But another thing is like when he's shooting arrows, so he just has an endless supply of arrows. He's just constantly one right after the other, like it's a freaking machine gun.
Isn't that what they always complain about Hawkeye in the Marvel movies too?
Yeah, but at least you watch Hawkeye like grab him out of his back, and there's even a time when Hawkeye doesn't have arrows anymore. He's like, "Damn, I'm out." It's like that never happens with Robin Hood, and it's just a sheath. He has nothing fancy holding those arrows in. He's jumping around, he's flipping, but he's always got arrows. They're always ready to go. Another thing, looking at like the technical side of the movie, just like every camera angle was like weird and different. Like felt like it came from another movie. Like they weren't like the same look.
Like they copied and pasted.
They just
It
photoshopped
was like-
another movie. And made
Yeah,
it Robin
or
Hood.
like it was like just
Like,
different.
four
It
Robin
was just
Hood
like
movies,
different
just
quality.
put them
Like
together.
here's this 4K like awesome fight scene, and then like a scene of like the horses running by, and it looks like an old fashioned like take of a movie or something like that. It was like I felt like I was getting like weird. I don't know, weird pictures of different movies. I don't know. It was interesting, but yeah, the movie overall, I was laughing. Like it was just funny how like dumb some of it was. You want a good laugh? Go see the new
Go see
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, but don't like pay for it. Like go to Redbox or something for like $1 or $2.
So I was outside with Thomas earlier, and I asked Thomas Matthew if he had seen the movie Us. And
Oh yeah, that's
the
Jordan Peele.
movie.
Yeah.
I have
he,
seen it.
He gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
that's
Now
what
for
I
any
said.
other movie, I'd be like, oh okay, cool, 7
Yeah.
out of 10, rock on.
Right.
Now I'm disappointed with this one on 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's gonna be a real unpopular view too, just because I feel like so many people are just like, oh man, but it's Jordan Peele, and he just did.
Oh, he's hot right
Yeah,
now.
he's hot right now. Just won an Oscar.
Do you put it above Get Out, or do you think Get Out was better?
I think Get Out was better.
Really?
Just because it was a very abstract. I'm not going to give anything away really here, but it's just an abstract concept that he did, and it's like it had a message and it had an undertone, but just the whole thing itself,
It was just executed poorly.
not executed poorly. Like it's like everything was there. And it was all there, but it wasn't.
So what did you not like?
It was all there.
I'm trying to. Well, you guys haven't seen the movie yet. But I just felt like there were holes in it, things that didn't make sense. You know, it was more about the message than anything. It was more about the message and not so much about like making sense of the storyline. You know,
Okay.
if that makes. Does that make
They
sense?
focused on the moral and not the story.
Yeah, it's like it was all about the message. It was, you know.
Trying to portray.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's all about.
Did they set
Yeah,
up for like a
message.
second movie?
No.
No, it's the end. At the end of it's the end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm sure some company will come in and pump out 20 of them, you know.
I don't know.
It'll be
Now-
us, you,
I don't know because Jordan Peele has, you know, producer, writer, like director credit, everything. So that might
Oh,
be
yeah, well, so did Saw, and they still pumped out 8 of those.
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, and look how it turned. The first Saw was
Yeah.
the only actual
Oh, my
good
gosh.
movie.
Yeah.
First Saw was fantastic.
Did you guys see the new Predator? Oh my gosh.
No, I lost.
Ah,
I
it was
honestly,
so bad.
The only Predator movies I even remotely enjoy are just the first and second. Anything that's come out after that.
I
it's
just feel weird
been-
talking about the movie at all. Just the name is so
The
hard to
Predator.
say. Yeah, like you seen the new Predator? Like in the neighborhood? Should I be worried? Like, what are you talking about?
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
You mean all those red dots that show
What
up
a
on the map?
horrible thing to name a movie. Just Predator.
But was it just corny? Or
Oh,
was it
so
just-
corny. Just the comedic bits in it were just ridiculous. Like, just making the Predator out to be a joke.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
kind of a shame because they were pretty badass movies back in the day.
Well, but the thing is, like, how much can you really do with the Predator? Like, it's in the name of what he does.
You can have
and
him
what
fight
he
Alien.
Does, you know? Well,
That was the
did
coolest thing
They
that
did
they
that
ever
twice.
did. That was the best thing
Yeah,
they ever did. Was
I
Alien vs
agree.
Predator.
I loved that movie.
The
I
other
loved
movies
that
only
movie.
existed to set up that movie.
Right? That's how I feel sometimes. But no, but it's like, but the whole thing with Predator is he just like, he runs and hunts things. He runs. He's an alien serial killer essentially. So the first one you had the jungle, the second one you had the city. So now they were just like, all right, now let's have it take place at a nursery. Let's have it take place at a hospital. Let's have him hunting people on a planet.
Oh, it's like the same thing that they're doing with the Terminator movies, where they're coming out with another one. And I don't know why.
know.
I refuse to
I
see
didn't
that
know why
last
they
one that
came
came
out
out.
with the last one. That
Oh, yeah,
they did. What was
Genesis?
the
Oh,
purpose
the
of
last one
that?
was horrible.
All right, so I never watched it. I refuse to watch it. It'll just ruin all
It's
of
not
it
the
for
worst
me.
movie ever, but it
Right.
was the worst Terminator movie.
Part of being part of the.
It looked like a
franchise, though.
superhero movie. It
Yeah.
looked like they were trying to do a superhero movie with Terminator.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
You saw it?
I saw
Is that
it.
what it looked like? Because
So
that's
I
how it looked from the
appreciated
trailers.
That it looked newer. I liked if you could say the graphics of a movie, like you say, graphics of a video game. You know, it just looked more modern, which was
Right.
cool. But everything about the story was not impressive to me. I didn't enjoy the story at all.
Well, and the thing is, especially with that franchise, they keep having, every time there's a new sequel, they have another director comes in and they change around who's playing each character.
Yeah.
And it's like it takes place in their own version of that universe.
And
if
they-
it was
they
its
should
own
not-
movie, I probably would have liked it a little bit more, honestly.
Right.
If they didn't call it Terminator and just made it like a robot movie or something, it would have been cooler.
And they should not still be trying to use Arnold Schwarzenegger for that. All right,
Yeah, he's old.
I've
He's done.
met Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he looks so old. Like they do a bunch of movie magic, makeup, and everything to kind of make him look younger and stuff. But man, in person, that guy looks so old.
Well, he even got criticized
he's-
at the time, I think.
Yeah.
Because even at the time, he was starting to look older.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is, you're playing a robot. Robots aren't supposed to age. The meats, they're not going to be like, oh, let's go with
Schwarzenegger's
an
in his
older meat skin
70s.
this
Oh my
time.
gosh.
No.
It just, it's, no. Stop it. Stop making Terminator movies.
And there's
You know what
another
they
one
should've
set to come
made?
out.
I know.
They should have made another RoboCop.
I think they did.
Fuck Terminator. RoboCop was bad. You guys remember that?
They-
I haven't
Are you
seen
old
the-
enough to know RoboCop?
I know
They
RoboCop, but like,
remade
are you
it.
talking about? Yeah, they did remake it.
Oh, did they?
There
Yeah.
was one.
It
It
came out a
didn't
few
do
years
well.
ago. Yeah, it tanked.
Oh, like pretty recently remade?
Yeah,
like
like
3 years ago.
Oh, you know
Maybe
what? I kind of
4
think I remember that.
5
I didn't
maybe.
see that one.
I didn't see it either. I have
they
a
come
friend of mine though who's a huge RoboCop fan, and he went to go see the movie, and he was like, it was shit.
Maybe it's like a Mortal Kombat deal. Maybe it's only cooler like in the older graphics.
Yeah, I think
2014
it's
and nowadays
it
it's just
came
not
out.
cool.
2014. So I think it's like a cult movie, really.
Yeah.
Is, so like you can't it's like trying to remake Rocky Horror Picture Show. Well, they did do that.
I was
and-
gonna, yeah.
I mean, but when they remade Rocky Horror, though, they did it smart. They didn't try to market it as like some big Hollywood movie. They was like, hey, we're just gonna make a fun little TV, nuanced
Yeah.
version of it. It's like, okay, cool, and I enjoyed it for
Fans
what it was.
appreciated it.
Yeah.
But like, and if they did that with maybe RoboCop, like made a TV series out of it or something, okay. But you can't
Dude,
remake
RoboCop
movies
was
like
fucking
that.
awesome.
I remember
that
remember back in the '90s watching it when it came on TV all the
I
My
time.
mom
vaguely
loved that
remember
movie.
it.
I had to watch it a lot.
I even remember as a
Really?
kid though
Yeah.
thinking I was like, this is kind of corny.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
Even
definitely
as a
corny.
kid.
It was corny.
I definitely like. I remember I saw RoboCop first, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I saw Terminator. I was like, yes.
Yeah, well, Terminator's obviously cooler for sure,
but that
but
just made me totally forget about RoboCop. I had no interest in RoboCop after that.
he was cool. He was like Inspector Gadget, but in the movies.
Oh man, do you remember the Inspector Gadget movie?
Oh my
they
gosh,
made, the
with
live
Matthew
action
God, it was
Broderick.
they
terrible.
made?
And
That
then
was
the
terrible.
second one with they replaced him.
Well, it wasn't terrible. It was cute, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like a good movie.
Honestly, I remember I saw the second one at one point, the second TV movie straight to DVD thing they made, and I remember I actually thought it was better than the first one. I was like, oh, this actually matches the cartoon more than the first one did. But
Go
there's-
Gadget.
how many people are listening who don't have any clue what Inspector Gadget
Oh my
is?
God.
The Gen Zers listening.
Come on, hardly
What the
millennials.
fuck is Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
If you don't know, get up with the times, guys.
Go Gadget toothpaste.
Inspector
Right?
Gadget was a niche even during his time. He was never the coolest cat in town.
No, he was always kind of like this nerdy robot. Like if Terminator was a total nerd, it was just like, I
like
go
Terminator
gadget
meets
pen.
Doug.
Now I can sign my checks for child support.
That was what was always the funniest thing about those fucking cartoons is like he had everything for everything. So yeah, it's like if he needed to sign something, they would make a point to have him go gadget pen,
It was essentially a superpower, is what
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Why was Penny never in school? You remember his daughter Penny? She was
I didn't
accompanying
remember
him.
her name was Penny.
Oh, no.
I don't either.
That was
I
impressive.
Like, it was Penny.
It just like popped into my head. Wasn't her name Penny? I feel like it was Penny.
I think there was a dog. I
I feel like there was a dog, right? There was. Yeah, why was
we don't
it
have to
shit?
wonder, guys. We have technology.
was
I've got it pulling up on my phone.
We have a tendency of not bringing Google to the podcast and just wondering, and usually arguing about things that we're both wrong about.
Yes,
Um,
it's
Yep,
funny,
the
though,
daughter's name
'cause-
was Penny.
Look at you.
Point me.
Wasn't there an actress who's like big now who actually played the daughter?
Oh, yeah,
Who
what-
played Penny.
she-
was like
she's
nobody when
semi-big.
that movie came out. but-
Michelle Trachtenberg.
This is like one of the
fuck that is.
like cornerstones to modern media. Like, it
She was
helped
in, like,
build everything we
17,
know
yeah.
today, and nobody knows anything about it.
Oh my gosh, it's true.
She does a lot of those like small TV movies and stuff.
Oh,
She's one of those actresses.
I don't know about that. You want to know what my favorite movie currently is?
What's your favorite movie?
Mother.
Oh yeah,
I
I knew
truly
you were big on
think
Mother.
I love that movie.
I just
think
watched it
everybody
again the
should
other
watch
night,
that
actually.
movie. Did you?
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best movies out there right now. I was very upset when it got zero, like, recognition at Oscars. You're giving me a look, Matthew. Do you disagree?
It's because of the content. It's because of what it revolved around and how sensitive we are in this country right now about religion and stuff.
That's true.
That's why.
I think that it was beautifully acted by everyone, particularly J-Law. She was great. I think that it was a very nice story. I think that the scenery was subpar.
Why? It was a house. What did you want it to be?
It just could have been more. It just was. I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm just saying that
But look how much they
Rush
jam-packed
Hour
into that house,
had better scenery in it. Like, there's much cornier, dumber movies that have a lot better scenery.
So does a movie for you then, it has to have like tens in every aspect of it?
It doesn't have to, but just to compare it, to say that it's one of the best movies of modern time right now, then yes, it would have to be a blowaway.
I think it is though. I mean, it has originality. It has the artsy factor on it, but a regular goer can still enjoy the movie for what it is. It has fantastic acting. It's not another superhero
I would
movie.
say that the movie I just watched recently, Passion of the Christ, has a way more impactful message of the same story going on. Has way better like if you want a religious moral story, that movie blows Mother out of the water.
Well, I'm not so much referring to like, oh well, as far as religious movies go.
No, but just to keep in the same genre.
Right.
You know?
But like
I loved Mother. I really loved it. It's not one of the best movies made in modern time.
Well, I wouldn't say modern time. It's just my favorite movie currently.
I would say I would go as far to say one of the most interesting written movies.
Oh, the scripting was amazing, and the acting is phenomenal.
The interpretive aspects of it, I think,
some of the best acting maybe in a movie right now.
Yeah. If you guys out there listening don't know what the movie Mother is, check it out. I'd be very curious to know what you guys think of it.
You can easily watch all of Mother and not get any kind of religious context from it. Even if you are not religious at all. I compared it to Passion of the Christ, which really is totally unfair to do at all.
But it's all very like metaphorical.
Yeah, if you are
film.
spiritual though, you'll get a story from it.
It's all very symbolic, but it's a great movie. Darren Aronofsky is one of my favorite directors. It probably is my favorite director, I would say.
I think that what I just kind of figured out what I meant about scenery too in that movie, how it was to me subpar, is that if you're gonna have such a tight space that you're shooting an entire movie in, if you're gonna shoot a whole movie in one house, okay, then I want to see every little detail of that house. I want like the most detailed depiction of the rooms, of what's going on, because there's not a lot to keep me engaged with. Kind of like if you're going to start a story and just tell the end of it, like the last 20 minutes of a story, I want a super detailed account of every minute of those 20 minutes.
So you just wanted to see like them explore more of the house.
Like literally more detail in the house. Yes.
I see.
Yeah. Like actual props and things.
I could understand that. Like almost like make the house more a part of it.
More appealing to the eye. Yes.
Yeah. Because I could agree with that because
I felt it was very dingy, which kind of helped with the story. It was supposed to be.
I was gonna say, just to give context for anybody listening, so that the house holds a very like symbolic, like the house is a character in itself in the movie, so that's why it's a very important.
I felt it was the least detailed of all the characters.
I definitely understand that, but I also understand why they did it the way they did, because the whole thing was supposed to be like early in the beginning. And stuff.
And there's a part, without any spoilers here, there is a destruction aspect that happens along the way that I felt was done very, very well.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
It's got a lot of positive points to it.
I really enjoy religious movies. As somebody who's not that religious, I do really enjoy watching any ones that are like have religious like intent, like Mother, or like in your face like Passion of the Christ, but I always enjoy that kind of stuff. The interpretations of it is always astounding to me. Like Noah was another one.
Oh, Noah was
really
a
enjoyed.
fucking fantastic movie, in my opinion.
That's another Darren Aronofsky.
I found it
was
boring.
a blow out of the water. Really?
I did.
Now I totally respect that though.
It just seemed very flat to me. Even the battle I felt was just very it's like they're guarding it the ark the whole time. Trying to, prepare it for the flood and whatnot and keep all the people that want on off. But I don't know. It was very long. It was very drawn out. Like a lot of Russell Crowe movies I've noticed. Just very long, very drawn out.
I love me some Russell Crowe.
I will get back to Russell Crowe in a minute. But.
Let's do that. He's one of my favorites right under Leo.
But yeah, and I just like, you got these great actors. You got Emma Watson in there too. You got, what's her name from Beautiful Mind?
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, Beautiful Mind, which is by far like probably my favorite Russell Crowe movie. There aren't a lot.
Ooh, I can't wait.
So okay, well we have to visit that.
All right, Russell Crowe. Okay, Russell Crowe.
Where's the hate coming from?
All right, where's the hate? All right, here's the hate. Russell Crowe. He tends to same tone every single movie I see him in. It's just the same thing. It's the same dark, brooding type of guy I always see Russell Crowe play. You kind of see Les Mis. He's playing this broody guy, and I get like that's kind of Les Mis. All right. I'm
that movie.
But like Les Mis. God, why am I drawing a blank right now?
Beautiful Mind, Gladiator.
Gladiator, I felt like was like the same thing. It's just
that may possibly be, if I had to pick one movie of all time that is like favorite of mine, that would be my favorite.
Gladiator, I felt like was good, but I just feel like he's the same character. Him as an actor, I'm not saying like movies he does aren't good. Right.
So you're
I'm saying him as an actor, it's like some things he's in, it works, but other things, it's like I'm just seeing Russell Crowe every time, and that goes true with a lot of different actors we've talked about just in the past 30 minutes.
Right.
But I just feel like I get the same thing, I feel like I just get Russell Crowe. Like I know how Russell Crowe's going to behave in every role that he does.
See, that's how I feel about like Will Smith or like Denzel Washington.
There's
I feel
a
like
lot
Russell
of them.
Crowe is a little more versatile than that.
I feel that.
You see him in the new Mummy movie?
Where he plays Mr. Hyde.
Gosh.
Did you see it, Matthew?
No.
Terrible.
I feel that most actors have this thing of that they only play one character or one type of character, and they play it really well. And that's like 8.5, 9 out of 10 actors out there. Okay. And then you have the top 10% who are super versatile. Now, of those 90% of actors, that's where I think that he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best of your average actors in that he gets so much emotion into his particular type of character that he can play, that kind of brawny, bruley, very simple kind of character. Love and family always matters a lot to his character, and doing the right thing sort of thing. But then he's always really good at something that goes against that, like fighting or, you know what I mean? He's really good at that kind of inner battle and showing that off, I think.
So I have to ask you, Matthew, because we had a conversation like this before, and you had told me that your favorite movie was The Patriot.
True. No, The Patriot is my favorite movie. That's what I always say is my favorite movie.
Okay.
And I hold to that. I really like it. But, man, Gladiator's up there, too.
Yeah.
That's one of my... The Patriot is a better movie, though. Overall, it's a better movie.
You know what actor just, popped into my head who's easily becoming one of my favorites? James McAvoy.
Oh, is he the one who plays Professor X in the new?
In the new ones, and he was in Split.
Oh, he was in Split. The guy with the personality.
I'm just like everything I see him in. He
movie.
delivers.
I haven't seen that.
Good.
He delivers.
I've heard a lot of good
every
things about
time.
Split.
Every role he does, the guy just delivers.
Yeah. Well, what really impressed me with Split is, and I'm sure you've seen trailers or have heard of it.
I know. Yeah, it's about the multiple personality.
Yeah,
thing.
well, and that's what's impressive about it, because each personality is very different from the other one, and he'll change between them within like there's one scene in there where he basically has a conversation with himself, so he goes in and out of like 15 different characters and like.
And now
2
that
minutes.
man who's playing it, the actual actor, does not have personal or split personality
No,
disorder.
James McAvoy, no.
Okay, so that's, I guess, where I've heard a lot of good things about, is that
Yeah.
he really nails what it's like to live with it. Or
And even you
whatever.
see that
Yeah.
even more in the sequel Glass.
I never saw it because I haven't seen Unbreakable in like
Yeah, go see
years.
Unbreakable. And
Did
then,
you watch Unbreakable first
Yeah.
before you saw Glass?
Oh yeah,
Are those all in the same story?
it's on Hulu.
So Unbreakable was the first one he did. It was actually like M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan's first film. And it was Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis did really well. And then years and years and years later, after all of his hits and flops, you know, he did Split, and then he was like, oh, it takes place in the same universe.
So it went Unbreakable, Glass, then Split,
No, Unbreakable, Split,
and then Glass.
yeah.
and then Glass. Oh,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
I'll have to check those out too.
Because
I'm
Glass
making
is
a
a
list here,
character
folks.
from Unbreakable.
oh, trust me, dude, I have such a long list. It was like Thomas yesterday we were sitting on the couch at my parents' house, and he was just going off of like, oh, have you seen this yet? Oh, you have to really see it. It's really good. Oh, and there's this. Have you seen this document?
Honestly, I hate when people do
And I
that.
was like, well, like I just told Thomas, I was like, Thomas, I have such a long list of things that I have to get to. Like, I promise at some point in my life.
Told him we're gonna
these
get to
will
a
be
few of them
watched.
while I'm
You have
here,
some Netflix
while I'm
Yeah.
in town.
Every time he comes and visits, I like get caught up with everything he wants me to watch. He's like, okay, you're gonna watch this now. Now you're gonna watch this. The one we're watching today is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
Is that
great
the-
movie.
That was that like animated one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I hear that's the
I
best
want-
Spider-Man. That's like
No, I want to
come out
talk
yet.
about that right now. It's
Everyone raves about that. They say
It's-
it's like the best fucking Spider-Man.
it's so good. First of all, the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack for it. I bought the whole soundtrack. I've listened to it a lot. It's really good. The animation is just so unique, and the way they did it with like
it was
the
like a
kind of
comic book.
yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
comic book feel, and then still like that good like Pixar level animation, but like in a comic book kind of way. It was just the
Right.
way they did it was so well done, and the way they blended the two looks. And the coloring in it. Oh my gosh, like just some really vibrant colors. I was thinking the whole time watching it, I'm just like, wow, if I had epilepsy, man, I'd be in trouble. There's a lot of flashing lights and a lot of bright colors coming at you. And just the way the story was put together, it was very well done. It was a long movie, but it didn't feel like a long movie, you know?
But like I really enjoy when movies are long now. Like I feel like movies owe it to the audience now to I feel like just be long. It's like
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time with an hour and 15 minutes.
So where did the
rom-com,
concept
you know?
of like a 2-hour average movie come from? Is there a reason for that?
Feature film is usually 90 minutes, isn't it?
on average
Yeah.
that average goes up though as
Yeah.
years go by. But well, it just started with so movies at first were just like these like 5-10 minute little, you know, back in black and white silent film days.
Yeah.
And then it basically just kind of became the average of like there is kind of a science behind writing a film where it's, you know, this happens first and then that leads to this and that leads to this and that leads to this.
Yeah,
So just natural, and then it was a system that just worked for every story, for every movie, and you could just find it in every story. So then people started to use that formula and just naturally to tell a story it took
Oh, I
like
see.
an hour and a half.
So it's like a don't fix it if it's not broken thing.
Yeah.
So you have people who do 3-hour movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Mel Gibson's who are notorious for doing long movies.
Yeah, well,
and
and
then most people do like an hour and a half.
Right. Well, and the thing with those long movies too is they still follow that same formula, but like whereas like instead of the catalyst, which is just the turning point of the film, whereas in a lot of movies it'll be like one set thing that maybe happens in like seconds or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Some filmmakers will make it an entire battle of like, oh, this entire battle that we're going to shoot for 20 minutes is the catalyst of what sets off this film, you know.
Right.
Avengers
So-
Endgame is 3 hours and 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Wow.
A new one coming out in a couple
It's
weeks.
it's gonna be
Do you
intense.
guys remember, because you just said battles being the catalyst in long movies. Do you remember Kingdom of Heaven?
Oh, I haven't seen it in years.
Oh, fuck.
but-
That was an epic.
That was a lot. I remember
Epic movie, dude.
I remember all of the long ass fucking fight scenes and all the Lord of the Rings films too.
Oh, Lord of the Rings. Those were a lot of computer generated fights, though, weren't they?
Well, there was a lot of real people involved also.
And
but
costume and
regardless
green
if they were
suits.
computer animated or not, there were still these long, drawn out fight scenes. You know, it's like I can only watch an elf kill an orc so many times.
True.
You know?
They were always badass, though. There was back in, like, I don't know, my middle school, high school days, when YouTube was first getting big,
Yeah.
there was a guy who would do videos of the fight scenes from Lord of the Rings with Slipknot in the background and make them like the Slipknot
Interesting.
music videos. They were super badass. They're probably still out there if you look them up.
I remember when those all used to be super popular. There was one that my friends and I got really into at the time. And you know that System of a Down song, Vicinity of Obscenity?
Yeah, Terracotta.
Yeah. So in the early days of like online videos, somebody had like edited that song to clips from Resident Evil 4.
Oh, that's probably cool.
And yeah, so and for whatever reason, we just got super into that particular video.
How
and
funny.
yeah, in our group, it was viral.
In our group, it was viral.
Anywhere else.
Group viral.
Went viral in my middle school.
But I just remember there was so many of those, you know, and now you'll go back and if you find any of those old videos, it's on a YouTube video, but the screen's super small. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's like blurry to the point of you can't even tell what the fuck it is anymore. But no, I got into a lot of those at the time. And now look at YouTube.
I know, it's come
They
a
have
long
original
way.
shows now.
They have us now.
They have us now. Fuck yeah, they do.
Hardly millennial.
The hardly millennials. But yeah, movies are. I just want to see better movies. Just to kind of wrap this conversation up, I'm tired of the superhero movies. I would like to see more originality. I would like to stop seeing reboots or even things that are
Oh my
focused
gosh, the
on
reboots.
books.
Dude, I
Like-
have been eating, like, what, 6 to 10 years of these stupid superhero movies. Sorry, I know I called them stupid, but I'm not sorry. I'm not into superheroes, really.
I don't. The thing
I enjoyed the
is-
Spider-Mans, and other than that, I'm waiting for the next thing to come around, dude.
Well, and the thing is, I don't even mind the superhero movie. I don't mind that they come out. I get that there's an audience. There's people that enjoy it.
Just want more
I don't-
variety.
Well, right now, the center of Hollywood is superhero movies. Like,
Yeah.
Hollywood is just...
Don't you think it's almost done,
Yeah.
though?
No.
I'd like to say
No, you
so,
think there's
but
more?
no.
No, because they're still making a lot of money from 'em. People still love seeing them. They're the new comic books.
Yeah.
They're like people are just waiting for the next issue to come out and waiting for the next version, and then,
Which again-
and they're gonna keep appealing to the next generation. So
Which, again, is fine. I get that there's an audience for it, but in the movie-making business, it feels like if you're in the movie-making business, that means you make superhero movies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's what bothers
why can't, like,
me about
space
it.
become a... I think we're going to
Yeah.
have a new, like, space enlightening.
there
here
was
soon.
like a time
You're
when
gonna
a
get
lot of space movies
stuff.
were coming
Yeah.
out, like Interstellar, Gravity, like those
Yeah,
were all
every now and then it
passengers.
becomes a thing.
Well,
Those-
even
like we've
now,
been getting a lot of space. I feel like we're starting to get a lot more space movies. People are becoming a lot more fascinated with what's out there.
not so much space, but just science fiction.
Yep,
in
sci-fi.
general.
But like I look at that as like because they all prey on the same thing. We're all curious about like what's beyond our Earth, and like that curiosity like drives people. And I feel like that's becoming more prominent now. I don't know why.
Well,
but
because I think
it
that
is
the
becoming more
exploration of
prominent.
it, we're right on the brink. I think in the next 10 to 20 years,
Yeah.
which is our lifetime,
Yes.
we're going to actually have people out there. We're going to, like, set foot on Mars.
Yeah,
We're
whatever.
gonna go
Like
look at
what
new
I
shit.
hear, like we're trying to put people on Mars by like 2020,
I think
2022.
it was 2024.
2024 was the
year.
next date.
They'll walk on Mars in our
That's
lifetime.
Elon Musk's words.
Because
That's
when
what
I
he
because
says.
when I was at the Smithsonian, I went to like this. Oh man, we really switched topics from movies to space.
happens all the time.
All right, so
Especially with space.
I'm fine with it. But I went to this documentary thing in big theater, but it talked about like how they're preparing to their journey to Mars. It's gonna be like 2 years there. They're gonna spend a year there and then 2 years back. And just the ship design is very interesting. It's like this giant, inflatable thing that expands once they're up there, and it provides them room to like exercise. Their dining, like everything, like just gives them livable space. But it's like this giant inflatable thing that's supposed to be,
I mean,
pretty tough and impenetrable. So
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, when you're in space and you just basically float around anyway, like what's it going to hurt just have it? Because I imagine it's probably not like an inflatable thing. Like I imagine it being one of those like tents where you just take it out of the package and you just let it go and it'll just like.
well, it's like part of the
pop
ship.
up.
It's like in the center, so it's condensed flat.
Okay.
And then when you're out there, like it all opens up and expands.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's more rigid than just like a balloon.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
But like they showed like the material from it and everything.
Although even if it was like a balloon, that would be fine in space.
True.
The only issue would be if like stuff hit it, like particles going through it. Would pop it.
That's why I would think that they'd have.
But
more rigid.
you can't just float the whole time because the problem with going to Mars with people is that. Well, the biggest problem is how long it takes to get there. It takes almost 3 years there and back each way. It's 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So the longest a human being has ever stayed in space is 1 year.
Yeah.
And that happened recently. Like he just finished his year a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. And the issue is that your bones get fucked up because there's no gravity on you. So on that spaceship that you're talking about, they spin it. And that centrifugal force creates artificial gravity.
I was literally
that keeps them weighted so that their bones don't get osteoporosis.
Yeah.
I was literally just going to ask about that because we've seen a lot of science fiction movies depict like ships like that. I know they did in Interstellar, and The Martian was another one where it was these ships that turn and use centrifugal force to create
The Martian
gravity.
is a really good representation.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson actually said that was his favorite space movie. That they depicted the science the best.
Matt Damon, man.
Yeah, not for the acting, for the science. For the science.
But that was always something that I wondered. Like the reason why they depict it like this in the sci-fi movies is because that's an actual theory of like how to be able to do that. So I always wondered,
Well, that's what
so
the Earth
why
does.
haven't we tried that? Well, that's
The
my
Earth
point,
spins.
though.
Yeah, so you would want that to happen on your ship.
Well,
You'd be fine.
that's why I was wondering if that was even something we were trying to develop in real life, as far as a real spaceship went. Is like
I think so.
Is that
yes.
something that we're doing?
I think that is
'Cause I
the
haven't heard
common.
anything about that. The only things I've seen is like I know they're developing planes that can like basically float in the like upper
Atmosphere and
then
like
come
cut your
down.
travel time in half.
Yeah. And then like some of the new shuttle designs and everything I've seen just look like, just bigger nuanced versions of the old shuttle. And it was always my thought of like, so why don't they build something that can fucking turn?
So I think that
that's why
stuff is inside the ship, like Thomas is saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's the new technology is the shell looks like the old rockets,
But
but
the inside is
inside
turning.
they have things that open up and create once you get up there.
Right.
And that is the living quarter. Yeah.
Well, shit.
They're getting good at it, dude. I think they're going to do it.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go to Mars.
Thank God for Elon Musk, man. Like, definitely opened the doors for further space
I
travel.
love Elon Musk.
I did too.
They shit on him all the time.
I know, but
If he would just stop talking, if he would just do everything he normally does
Just
every
stop.
day.
Twitter's evil. Just stop using fucking Twitter.
Beyond that, just stop talking altogether. Don't
my
even say
gosh.
words anymore, Elon. And just be smart.
just be you.
Just be.
Every time he talks, he gets in trouble.
That's true. All right. Well, on that note, we are at our time for the day.
I had fun on this one. My
I
goodness.
did too, man.
It was fun being here, guys. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Well, you'll probably hear Thomas a little more this week, possibly.
I'll be in town for a few days.
So we'll probably have him on a couple more times. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Remember, you can follow us on all the social media platforms, except for Twitter. We just try not to get in trouble and not post things on Twitter.
We don't want to Elon Musk ourselves.
And if you guys have been avid listeners of this podcast, you'll know that we got thrown off 3 times before we even did anything on it. So
Yeah, we did.
But anyways, we also have a Patreon. You can go visit and donate some money if you would like. www.patreon.com/heartedlymillennial. We appreciate all the viewership, the listeners. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And Thomas, any final thoughts?
No, just I look forward to talking with you guys some more.
Ooh, I look forward to it too, man. Matthew, any final thoughts?
We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow,
Bye-bye.
guys. Thank you so much for being on, Thomas.
Yeah.